Hello, it's Helen from Journal with Purpose. Happy New Year and welcome to my latest video. This video is part of a collaboration with Meg Journals and we're doing a junk journal hop. So I will leave the details of all the other participants down below. And we're each going to be sharing one of our favourite junk journal techniques. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about Junk Journal January once I get started. So I'm going to be creating in this beautiful journal that was actually made for me by Nettie, and I'll leave her YouTube video linked as well. And I've been using this mainly as a kind of art journal as part of one of my creative challenges on Patreon. So I've decided I'm going to stick to something similar in here, and I'm actually going to be sharing two of my favourite techniques. So I'm going to start off because I know I want to add some watercolour onto this page. I want to toughen my page up a little bit. So I'm going to start off by applying a coat of white acrylic gesso. And some of these pages might be thick enough to hold watercolour, but I actually really also like the effect of watercolour applied on top of gesso. I think it gives a really interesting effect. If you don't have gesso but you've got some white acrylic paint, then you might find that works well too. And gesso really is just a primer, but it's quite toothy, so it helps mediums to stick to your page, but it's quite thick as well, so we're going to get lots of those beautiful brush marks coming up through the watercolour when we add it. So I'm not applying it all the way to the edge of my pages, because I want to still be able to see some of that lovely music paper peeping around the outside too. And I'm then going to put my journal to one side for a moment and let that coat of gesso dry. And whilst that's drying, I'm going to work on making an origami envelope. I have shared this on YouTube before, but I checked my channel and it was actually January of this year that I last did it. And for this you want to have a square piece of paper. And for the size of my journal, I'm doing 15 centimetres squared, which is just under 6 inches. But so you might want to make yours slightly bigger or smaller depending on the size of the journal that you're using. And you can use either patterned paper or you could decorate some plain paper yourself. Which, if when you've got your pattern on your paper, you want to have that side facing down. And the first thing we're going to do is fold this into a triangle. I had so many people last year creating origami envelopes and tagging me in on Instagram. I think it's really addictive, and lots of other people did too. So if you decide to make one, please do tag me in. I'm Journal with Purpose there. I'd absolutely love to see how you get on with it. So once you've got that folded into a triangle, you need to take one of your corners and fold it just past your center point here. And this is going to be a really small envelope, but that's just what I want for this page. And I'm using a bone folding tool, but you could use the edge of a ruler or anything just to get it nice and flat. And then again you want to fold this one again so it goes just past this center point up here. And you can see mine's not terribly precise, but that isn't going to matter. In fact, I'm going to bring that across just a little bit more to try and level it up with this side. And I'm going to be doing the same thing with this envelope that I did last year. That will be why I did it in January. I like to pop in some of my kind of little wishes for the year ahead, and it's just obviously the perfect time of year to do that. So once you've got this folded, your top corner here, you want to fold back on itself so that it is more or less level with this in a straight line with your corner at the top here. So you can now fold that down And then what you're going to have here is this little pocket. So you can see inside there. And you want to push this now flat. You might want to put your finger inside just to open it up. So what you should have now right on the top here is this little square shape. And now when you fold down the top part of your envelope, again you want to get that fold nice and crisp if you can, just to make sure that it will hold down well. And you can then tuck that inside the little pocket that you've made on the front. And if you want to, you can add a little bit of glue underneath this flap here to hold it down. If you've used really thin paper, you probably won't need to. It'll probably hold in place fine. But this is slightly thicker paper, so I just want to make sure that that's going to hold nicely in place. So I'm now going to move my pocket to one side and come back to this page here. I've checked that that's entirely dry, which it is, so I'm now going to add some watercolor paint on top. And because my envelope is green, I think I'm going to pick probably 2 different shades of kind of greeny bluish paint. And I'm going to mix these up in my paint palette. And so while I'm doing that, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the prompts for Junk Journal July. So one of the reasons that we're doing this collaboration is to try and inspire as many people as possible to get going in their junk journals. And then throughout January, Meg Journals will be hosting Junk Journal July over on Instagram, but if you do any videos, you could share those as well using the hashtag Junk Journal January. And there's some prompts that you can use kind of in any way you like throughout the course of the month. And hopefully if you go on and watch all of the other videos as well from the collaborators in this project, you'll have lots of ideas that hopefully you'll be excited to try out in your own journals. And you might well be able to use some of the techniques that you learn, because everybody will be sharing their favourite ones, to help you then with some of these pages when you're creating in your own junk journal. And I would say if you don't have a junk journal, you could do this kind of thing in any journal, perhaps just add some old book pages or music paper, something like that as a background. So I do hope you'll get involved with the Junk Journal January, and if you're on Instagram, share some pages over there using that hashtag so that everybody who's taking part can see all of the different pages being created too. Okay, so I've mixed up some of the watercolour paint with lots of water, and I'm just going to be using this as a background because I'm going to add some designs on top. So I'm just putting the paint pretty much anywhere I fancy. And I just thought it'd be interesting to have the 2 different shades of green in there. So I'm going to do this with both of the colours until I've got all of the white gesso pretty much covered. Again, I'm not taking the paint right up to the end of the page, to the edge of the gesso, just to try and stop it seeping through sort of behind the gesso to any of the pages underneath. I've had so much fun in this journal that Nettie made me, and it was perfect for my art journal challenge because I usually work in a kind of custom made, well not custom made, but a proper junk journal if you like, one that's got paper designed for it. But this has really encouraged me to think about how I'm using my mediums and adapting them, often by putting down a coat of gesso or something like that, so that I know each of the pages will still be protected. And what I'm going to do now is very quickly come and dry that page off. I've also got a little bit of pooling down the bottom, so I'm just going to lift that up with a tissue and dry that page off quickly. Now I'm going to attach my little origami envelope to my page, and for this I'm just going to use my Pritt stick. And I'm going to make sure I press that down, hopefully nice and firmly so that it stays in place. And again, with my junk journals, if there's really interesting backgrounds like with this one, I try and make sure that I leave some of that showing, because I don't like to cover up all of the kind of beautiful images and details that are below. And then I printed off a few. These are from my Patreon printables from the quotes page. And I think actually what I'm going to go for next year, oh, I can't decide. Find joy in the ordinary. I think that's a really good focus for next year as we go into what's looking to be yet another unsettled year. The same as I've done really for the last couple of years is trying to find as much joy in all the little things like journaling and creativity that I can, because those are things that I know I can hopefully safely focus on. So the next thing I'm going to do is write down, I've got a little notepad here, and I'm going to use one of these pages to write down a few of my kind of little wishes for 2022. And I think it's so nice because then you'll be able to go back in at the end of the year and open up your little envelope and kind of see how things went. So I'm just going to take a couple of moments to write those down here. So that's my little thoughts now written down. I'm just going to fold this up, tuck it inside the envelope, and then have a look through. I haven't actually, I'm filming this just before Christmas and I haven't yet looked inside my envelope that I wrote at the beginning of this year, but that's something I'm planning to do kind of between the Christmas and New Year period. Before I start adding my designs onto this page, I'm going to add a black outlining around the edge of the gesso, and I'm going to use a Staedtler Mars Lumograph black pencil in 6B for this. And this step definitely isn't essential. It's just something I really like the look of, just having that bold kind of black outline to help it all stand out against the background of the page. To add my designs on this page, I'm going to use a dip pen with a Nico G nib and some Winsor & Newton black Indian ink. But if you've got something like a fountain pen or any black pen, you're going to be absolutely fine. And the designs that I want to add are going to be leaves, because I feel that I've already kind of tied this page into this one with the black border here, and I want to pick up the leaf details from that patterned paper. So I'm not going to do anything too elaborate. I just want some really nice kind of simple leaf designs to tie everything in together. And that's one of the things I love doing with my journal pages, especially when you do it using a junk journal, is they can look so different. So trying to bring those two pages together to look like one spread can be a really fun thing to do. So yeah, just really simple. In fact, I think I might put a line going up through each of these as well. And these are definitely some of my favourite junk journaling techniques. Adding different little pockets and envelopes to my pages, and then I nearly always love adding some kind of artwork to my page. And in most of my journals, if you've been around here for quite a while, you'll know that I tend to add lots of writing, but I also like to have the flexibility, like with these pages, to not add too much writing. Really, it's just I've got my little thoughts hidden away in there, and the rest of it's all just kind of fun, creative elements. And I do hope if you've got some sort of spare time at the moment, you'll have a look through the videos of the other contributors. I haven't seen what they've done yet, but I can't wait to see. There's some absolutely fantastic YouTubers taking part, and I know that they all have such different styles, so should hopefully give you lots of inspiration for your junk journals, as well as then that prompt list for Junk Journal January. I think will be a lot of fun and a really good way to try and start that daily habit of doing something in your journals, whichever sort that you use. It doesn't have to take terribly long, just something that perhaps you can add a little to your pages every day. So I'm just going to go ahead now and carry on adding the rest of the leaves to this page. Okay, so that's my leaves now all drawn in, and I love how kind of fresh that's looking. I think green's a lovely colour for the start of the year, kind of that feeling of growth and hopefully fresh opportunities and things coming. And the final thing I think I'm going to add to this page, I've got some of my old printable stickers here. I'm not sure how well it's going to show up because these ones I printed on transparent sticker paper, but I'm just going to pop that in there. So that's it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're doing well. Don't forget to check out all of the other participants who I'll leave linked in the video description down below. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I look forward to speaking with you really soon in my next video.